The Demon Slayer universe has some pretty broken abilities, with total concentration breathing, Demon Slayer marks, and the transparent world, but these aren't really too crazy compared to other shonen anime abilities. In today's video, we'll be taking some inspiration from Eiichiro Oda, and analyzing what would happen if Tanjiro had a devil fruit like in One Piece. But first, let's start by understanding what Tanjiro brings to the table without his devil fruit. Tanjiro is undoubtedly in peak physical condition by human standards, but compared to the superhuman feats we see in One Piece, his abilities are actually pretty grounded. His main strength comes from total concentration breathing and Demon Slayer breathing techniques, which allow humans to fight on the same level as demons. It's important to note here that when Tanjiro uses sun breathing, the visual effects we see are not actual elemental attacks, but illusions created by his techniques. While total concentration breathing still pushes Tanjiro to slightly superhuman levels, the feats we see in Demon Slayer are pretty tame, so we're talking maybe 2 or 3 times strength and speed multiplier. When awakened, the Demon Slayer mark dramatically increases Tanjiro's physical abilities to the point where he's able to keep up with upper moons. Aside from the typical Demon Slayer powers, Tanjiro's enhanced sense of smell deserves a mention here, as it lets him detect emotions, track enemies, and even detect the opening thread, the perfect moment to strike down an enemy. Now here we have a peak human with some superhuman enhancement and incredible sword skills. So what would happen if we gave him a devil fruit? For those unfamiliar with One Piece, devil fruits are mysterious fruits that grant incredible powers at the cost of the user's ability to swim in open water. Now, while Tanjiro needs to stay mobile and travel across Japan, this isn't actually a significant drawback, as he never goes to the sea, unlike the pirates in One Piece. Picking a devil fruit for Tanjiro is a bit complicated though, since there are a bunch of factors we need to consider. Broadly speaking, devil fruits come in 3 main categories. Paramecia types are the most common and varied, and grant superhuman abilities or allow the user to manipulate their body or environment in unique ways. Examples include Luffy's Gomu Gomu no Mi, which made him rubber, or Buggy's Bara Bara no Mi, which lets him split his body apart. On the other hand, Zoan-type devil fruits allow you to transform into an animal or a hybrid form. This can range across multiple species, from regular animals such as leopards to mythical beasts like dragons. Finally, Logia-type devil fruits are considered the rarest and most powerful, as they let you become, control, and generate a natural element like fire, ice, or light. Most Logias, through their effect of letting you become an element, grant intangibility, making their user almost impossible to hit without haki or a weakness. Now the question is, which type would suit Tanjiro best for fighting demons? I think we can eliminate Zoan-type fruits entirely, as the weak ones are pretty useless against demons, and the mythical Zoans would interfere with Tanjiro's ability to wield a sword. Now, we know that demons have a bunch of weaknesses, with the main one being sunlight, and by extension, Nichirin blades. They can also be harmed using wisteria poison, though that's not always lethal. Given these weaknesses, we need a devil fruit that either generates or manipulates light, similar to sunlight, amplifies Tanjiro's existing sword skills, or provides overwhelming combat prowess. Borsalino's Pika Pika no Mi feels like a great fit here, but being able to transform into a light being and travel at blinding speeds doesn't really suit Tanjiro's style. Something like Luffy's Gomu Gomu no Mi would be super useful thanks to the immunity to blunt force, and the ability to stretch. However, Paramecia-type fruits generally won't be useful for Tanjiro, as he doesn't possess armament haki, which is almost a necessity to unlock a Paramecia type's full potential. Once you consider Tanjiro's personality, breathing techniques, and fighting style, one devil fruit immediately stands out as the perfect choice: the Mera Mera no Mi. Think about it, this was the fruit used by Ace, who was also known as the Fire Fist. Tanjiro's signature technique is Hinokami Kagura, the dance of the fire god, which makes this fruit a perfect thematic fit. While the Mera Mera no Mi's flames are not literal sunlight, there's no way demons are immune to the intense heat and flames generated from this Logia. But the most critical advantage is the typical Logia intangibility. Most demons rely on physical attacks, coupled with their blood demon arts to do collateral damage. You see, even though Tanjiro will be getting a devil fruit in this timeline, he'll still be in the Demon Slayer universe, which means techniques like haki won't exist. But without haki, the demons would find it near impossible to land a hit on Tanjiro, if he plays his cards right and turns parts of his body into flame. The power ceiling of this fruit in terms of offensive power and utility is insane, as Ace could create massive walls of flame, fire spears, and much more. By amplifying his swordsmanship with actual flames, Tanjiro's destructive output would go to a level that could match upper moons from the start. So now, let's see how Tanjiro's newly discovered abilities change the story. But before that, we need to figure out how Tanjiro came into possession of the Mera Mera no Mi. Since the trade and knowledge of devil fruits isn't a thing in the Demon Slayer universe, we can imagine that Tanjiro discovered the Mera Mera no Mi growing on a tree just like a regular fruit, and ate it because he couldn't smell any poison in it. This means that Tanjiro would develop his flame abilities at a very young age, but he wouldn't learn how to harness them to be used in combat or receive any training as a swordsman. His early life is more or less the same as the Kamado family adjusts to their eldest son's abilities, but the critical moment here is when Tanjiro returns home after the night Muzan attacked. Now, he wouldn't use his abilities against Nezuko, as he's still trying to save her, but when Giyu tries to attack her, Tanjiro doesn't hesitate to unleash his flames on the Hashira. Even though Giyu manages to escape unharmed, he's shocked by Tanjiro's power, as it looked like a blood demon art, but the boy had zero demonic aura. This time, when he sends the siblings to Orokodaki Sakonji, Giyu makes a special note of the young boy and his latent powers. This actually changes Sakonji's approach to training Tanjiro as well, as he focuses not only on teaching the young demon slayer water breathing, but also on unlocking the full potential of his flames. At the final selection, Tanjiro would dominate. His sword, now wreathed in actual fire, combined with the water breathing movements, would cut through demons like butter. The hand demon that killed many of Orokodaki's students wouldn't even be a challenge, as Tanjiro could incinerate it from a distance, without needing to get close. This creates our first major change. Tanjiro would seem too powerful too soon, with the Demon Slayer Corps immediately taking notice. Ubuyashiki would want to meet him immediately, and Tanjiro might be fast-tracked to Hashira training. Tanjiro's powers may actually hurt the improvement of his battle awareness. Think about it. Against Kyogai, Tanjiro wouldn't need to carefully track the rotating rooms. He could simply unleash a technique similar to Ace's Fire Fist or Heat Haze, and incinerate the entire mansion if needed. But this is where Tanjiro's personality comes into the equation, as he'd still show restraint, and only go nuclear if the circumstances demanded it. The events of the Mugen Train arc also changed dramatically, as Tanjiro no longer has any trouble producing the destructive output needed to destroy a train. But the real change comes with the Rengoku vs. Akaza battle. Now, Tanjiro might actually be able to join in the fight here, but Akaza is the Upper Moon 3 for a reason. He's faster, more experienced, and has centuries of combat knowledge compared to the other demons that Tanjiro has fought. Tanjiro's flames would be dispelled with Akaza's powerful kicks and punches, teaching the young demon slayer his limits, and reminding him that he has a long way to go. This also proves to Tanjiro that his flames aren't the solution to all his problems, and that he needs to work on his sun breathing if he wants to take out top-tier demons. This means that Tanjiro will begin to focus on his devil fruit powers more as a defensive technique, while using his swordsmanship as his main offensive tool. This change in philosophy is on full display when he fights against Gyutaro and Daki in the Entertainment District arc. Daki's obi slashes won't work, as Tanjiro surrounds himself in flame and burns them away. Gyutaro's blood sickles are still deadly, but the venom burns off before it can reach Tanjiro. The battle would still be intense, but Tanjiro acts as the perfect tank for the demon slayers, and together with Tengen, Zenitsu, Nezuko, and Inosuke, the Upper Moon 6 siblings are overwhelmed. Tengen probably survives this encounter with minor injuries as well, meaning that the demon slayers are in far better shape for the final battle. The Swordsmith Village arc is where Tanjiro's Devil Fruit faces its biggest challenge, as Hantengu's forms can actually work around his flames. Chances are that Tanjiro's flames don't really make a difference in this arc, and the outcome remains the same. But things change completely when Muzan triggers the Infinity Castle. Against Upper Moon 3 Akaza, the fight would be far more even, and Tanjiro's Logia abilities might actually interfere with Akaza's Compass Needle. The key outcome is that Tanjiro and Giyu take less damage in their battle, but it's unlikely that they dispatch Akaza quickly enough to help out against any of the other Upper Moons. And finally, we reach Muzan Kibutsuji himself. In the original story, the entire Demon Slayer Corps barely managed to stall Muzan until sunrise, but the intense heat from Tanjiro's attacks might actually overwhelm his healing factor much quicker. Imagine the climax. Tanjiro awakens a technique similar to Ace's Great Flame Commandment, hitting Muzan with the destructive power of a miniature sun. The 13th form of sun breathing combines with Flame Emperor maximum output to deliver a slash that not even the Demon King can recover from. The battle ends at dawn, but Muzan is left far too weak to pull any of the tricks up his sleeve. So there you have it. A Devil Fruit would make Tanjiro radically stronger, probably even to the extent of being overpowered. Would this make for a better story? Let us know in the comments down below.